Another week, another trading cycles video. It's week 20, 2024. My name is Urmas and I'm here to give you an overview of what has happened last week on financial markets and what the new week might bring. Today is Monday, 13th of May. Before we dive in, you are free to also smash that like button as well if you enjoy the content, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. And it's always good to remember that you need to do your own due diligence. This information is provided for educational purposes only. So please do your own research and always trade the price and not the prediction. Now, what did we see last week then? We did see obviously quite high prices there. So the markets have been now recovering. Obviously, it was all encouraged by favorable employment report and also Fed's openness to rate cuts, hinting that obviously that stable economic slowdown is giving more grounds to that. Yeah, and despite mixed results midweek, where some indices obviously saw some drop downs, but Dow did extend to the winning streak as well. Yeah, so basically Dow was one of the strongest indices there. By Thursday, positive sentiment obviously returned and pushing the Dow to extend its gain further. We did obviously close a bit mixed on Friday, but overall the sentiment was all positive. Yeah, and one sad news as well from last week. Jim Simons, the founder of Renaissance Technologies and quantitative investor, passed away at the age of 86. He was known his exceptional contribution to both mathematics and finance, and Simons led the Medallion Fund, which did achieve quite remarkable obviously annual returns of 66% before fees and 39.2% after fees in between 1988 and 2018. Beyond his financial obviously success there, Simons was also a philanthropist, and having established the Simons Foundation, which has allocated billions to grant a support to research in mathematics and basic sciences. Yeah, so he will be greatly missed. Now, last week there were some earnings coming in again. Yeah, we're now about coming to the end of this earnings season. Yeah, so basically what we did see, Airbnb did report quite good revenue and profit for the first quarter, surpassing 10 billion in revenue and 2.3 billion in earnings before taxes, which was quite a good number. But the guidance for the next quarter did not meet analysts' expectation, causing about 9% drop in their stock price this week. Yeah, despite CEO's Brian Chesky's optimism there that there is a great potential for Airbnb still. Okay. But yeah, the numbers have been growing quite steadily since last quarter in 2020, and yeah, it's all positive so far. Although there is a kind of a trend, maybe it starts to top out a bit, but we shall see how it's gonna go. Now, Shopify was another one to report quite positive earnings there, but despite these gains, obviously, which were about 20% revenue growth and 34% then in profits, I believe. Yeah. Basically, Shopify guidance for slower sales growth and reduced margins for the upcoming quarter disappointed again analysts, and resulting in the stock hitting all-time low and plummeting by 21% following the announcement. Yeah. Nevertheless, Shopify's president Harley Finkelstein emphasized that the company is with the long-term vision, and obviously they are looking to build a 100-year company there. Well, we'll see. Obviously, the numbers are talking for themselves. Yeah, so basically the gross merchandise volume here shown is growing, obviously, quarter by quarter. Yeah, so that's not too bad. It's all going to the right direction so far. We'll see how the next quarter will look like then. And also Boeing has been in news again, yeah, so it keeps coming up all the time now this year. They did make an emergency landing in Istanbul airport, yeah, and that was because of the front landing gear fault there. And obviously investigations are ongoing, and Boeing is still struggling there, yeah, so there are so many memes going on around the internet already, but please remember that we started to cover Boeing's issues already in January, and we did indicate that these are not short-term issues. There's going to be more issues coming later on this year as well. And the other company who has been in news, Spirit Airlines as well, they have been burning quite a lot of cash, exactly 444 million in the last quarter, which is quite a lot. So it's not looking good to Spirit either, yeah. So I would not invest in that company myself at this point, at least. Now, if you look at the earnings growth and revenue growth for S&P 500 for the Q1, because about 80% of the companies have been now announcing their earnings for the past quarter, and well, earnings growth has been quite steady. We did see the low there in Q2 23, but if you look at the revenue growth, then that is now rising, yeah. So obviously companies are not doing that bad either. That's gonna obviously give quite good indication to the market, but it is slowing. Obviously, it is not as good as it was in 2021 or even beginning of 22. So yeah, we need to be obviously open-minded there and a bit cautious as well. But at the moment, yes, the trend is rising. And if you look at the obviously economic cycle there and also stock market cycles, then these tend to top out in certain events and levels, and at the moment I think we are getting there, because on this initial stage there we will see obviously financial, small caps and technology obviously rising, then basic industry, and by the end then industrial goods, also precious metals and energy. So we have seen all of that already basically. And once the market starts topping out, then we will see more of consumer staples and healthcare coming up there. Utilities also, these are those backup sectors, so to say. Yeah? So when times are not so good, people tend to invest in those sectors more and more because they are safer. Yeah? But yeah, I think we are at this stage already where we are coming to turn over here. But this is my opinion, obviously. Yeah. And if you look at pandemic era excess savings there that were quite high in 2021, they have been declining, and now we have come to that negative territory already. So as we do know that credit card debt is rising in US for consumers, and yeah, there are not so many savings anymore left. So obviously for economy that's going to indicate as well that some companies will not do as good as they used to do, because obviously the costs are rising and income is declining, so that's going to put them in quite difficult position. And we have heard now that about 43% of small businesses in US did struggle paying their rent on time last month. So yeah, that's not really a good indication for the market as a whole. Now, what is good is that UK has come out of that short-term recession there. They were obviously in negative territory for about 3 quarters now, and this past quarter they did come out of that. The GDP did raise about 0.6%, I believe. Yeah? And yeah, that's obviously a good sign that maybe this economy is going to do a bit better than the rest of the Europe or world. So they are now obviously a bit more independent there as well after Brexit. Yeah, so we'll see how it's going to play out then. Bank of England, though, did keep the rates steady still at 5.25%, although they did indicate quite strongly that they are intending to cut rates this year, so possibly even this summer. Now, what else we did see? Sweden did cut rates though already. So Sweden's central bank did cut rates for the first time in 8 years, and indicating a divergence in monetary policy between the US and Europe. Yeah. So as I have been indicating for quite some time already, that I believe that Europe will start cutting rates before US this time. Although they tend to wait for US decisions usually, but I think this year or this time it's going to be a bit different. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay, now let's look at the technical charts here as well. So if we look at S&P 500, then for the last week it did rise quite a bit, yeah, and it's back in its positive territory, just there, yeah. And there is a resistance now from those previous tops there, standing on a way. So we shall see if it's going to hold or it's going to break through. Now, my suspicion is that this resistance might hold this time, but obviously how it's going to play out, it's difficult to say. Now, on weekly, it's more prominent, yeah. So we can see that was the recent high there about 6 weeks ago, yeah. And now, obviously, we do have some divergence in play there, and that resistance. So I do suspect that the market will struggle a bit for a little while, yeah. But there is still positivity coming in, so we will cover that in a moment. And now Russell has been obviously on the weaker side still, and also struggling with those resistance lines there. So although, yeah, it's also in positive territory now. And 50-day moving average has been keeping its obviously levels at those 50% lines there, and the 200-day moving average also is above 70 still, yeah. So it's holding very strong for S&P 500. If you look at the sector performance, then utilities, financials and industrials were the best ones during the week, and the worst one was consumer cyclical and technology. And if you look at the monthly view, then utilities, consumer defensive and financials have been the best performing sectors, and the worst ones have been energy and technology. Okay, and if you look at them individually, then yeah, those three sectors that have been standing out there, then basically these are the best ones that are outperforming S&P as well, yeah. And here are the individual charts. So financials obviously is doing quite well, as we have indicated. Obviously we are still in that time where Jupiter is moving through Taurus, and yeah, that's usually quite good for financial sector as a whole, and also for banks individually. Yeah? Now we do suspect that once the change is going to take place in the end of May, that banks will start losing their ground, yeah. So possibly we are looking at double top here, but how it's going to play out, well, we don't know yet, yeah. Now, if you look at those more defensive sectors like consumer staples, that has been doing very well, yeah. So it's forming new highs here. This is also a good indication. And the same goes for utilities, yeah. So it's been very strong in recent weeks. And we do suspect that it's gonna go even higher. Now, if you look at the heat map, then it was mostly green last week. Only Disney and Tesla and Ford and a couple of others were in red, but overall sentiment was fairly good. And biggest winners and losers there, well, ANET was one of the winners there, yeah, which we did cover last week as well. So that is one of our favors there. It did bounce quite a bit after the earnings on Tuesday last week, and it did gain about 14% or 15 even, yeah, after that. So that's all good. But for example, not all of the companies are doing the same, yeah. So it's always not a whole stock market, but the market of stocks, yeah, individual stocks. And for example, I did notice AKAM, which I don't know what company it is, but it's been all red, yeah. And as we see by our technical indications as well, trend is all down, so it's like a falling knife, and it did accelerate there even further, yeah. So that's what usually happens. So it's not really recommended to catch those falling knives, because you might get hurt quite bad, as it happened here as well, yeah. So we only tend to buy stocks when they indicate a obviously bullish trend to form there, and after that make decisions. Go with the trend, so to say. So, and looking at insider trading activity there, so basically some buying has been going on, also a bit of selling still going on, so it's rather positive at the moment, I should say. More buying power is coming in at the moment. And fear index did decline as well, so it's back to its lowest levels there possibly. But we shall see if it's going to break out still from the trend line. Obviously at some point it should. Whether it's going to be now soon enough or it's going to take a couple of months until it starts breaking out again. We shall see. Fear and greed index did come out of that fear zone as well finally. It's been struggling there a bit for quite some time, but now it's in neutral territory. And crypto is now standing still at greed zone. So although crypto markets have been correcting quite a bit, but it's still going strong, and obviously we'll keep an eye on those things, how it's going to go, because I do suspect that Bitcoin at least is going to have its second coming in this cycle as well. It's not over just yet. Seasonally, all markets should be growing up until July there, or even August. We shall see how it's going to go, but at the moment we are in that quite good positive territory, as we have indications on our statistical model here as well. And astrologically we do have a quite mixed week. We got some good aspects, obviously a quite positive week in that sense, but midweek there are some tensions as well. So we do suspect that markets might struggle a bit in midweek. So it might be a quite volatile week. And looking at our black box model, then yes, that's going to get more positive as well the closer we get to June. And next week, or this coming week, what to expect here. Basically, what I have noticed, Fed Chair Powell is speaking on Tuesday again, so that's quite important to keep an eye on what he has to say this time. Then PPI is coming up on Tuesday, tomorrow, and that's going to indicate us how the producer price index has been going, so how producers are doing. Also some inflation numbers are coming up on Wednesday, and we do have still quite many earnings as well that interest us. So basically NIO, Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer, is announcing, and it might be quite difficult time for that company, because obviously they have been struggling there, and also US now is planning some more tariffs, as it stands at the moment at 25% for Chinese EV cars imported to US. The plan is to raise it to 100%, to protect the US market. So, well, it's not obviously confirmed yet, but that's not going to indicate anything positive for NIO either. Now Home Depot and also Walmart are coming up with results as well this week. So let's keep an eye how the retail sector is doing. And Jack in a Box, which is fast food chain, is announcing there, and also Ross Stores, which is one of them, so to say, cheap stores. So let's see how this sector is doing as well. All right. Now here is more detailed, obviously, information, what sort of macro numbers and when they're coming out, and also those companies that are announcing, major ones at least. Okie dokie, and let's look at some live charts as well. So if you look at the S&P, we are still in that growing zone. So we had a last positive signal there coming up, and if you look at the turning points, then today on Monday there is one turning point obviously for S&P, and the next one coming up in quite a while. So basically 24th of May is the next one. Well, we'll see what the market is going to do. Is it going to struggle with that resistance there, or is it going to break through now? If you look at Qs are also in that resistance zone, and if you look at oil, then I think oil market might now start seeing some bullish moves there again, so it does stand on that support at the moment, and the cyclical indication is to the upside at the moment, so it should go a bit higher now. If you look at gold market, then gold should correct a bit at this time, and there is gonna be another bullish leg coming up after 30th of May, so in June rather, so we'll see how it's gonna go, but the next turning point is indicating us a possible bigger moves or change of trend there on the 15th of May. And looking at Bitcoin is in that negative, so to say, cyclical area now. It's been declining still, although today has been quite strong day to the upside, so we'll see how it's going to play out, but at the moment, yes, indications are all to the downside. Good, so let's look at the individual stocks as well. So as we have been keeping an eye on these, Apple first. So Apple did see some news as well during the week, and it's been doing quite strong now. New iPad models did come up out on Tuesday with the new powerful M4 chip, which is one of the, well, at least the fastest chip on any Apple product at the moment, so weirdly enough, iPads did get to that point first. But yeah, they are quite interesting models, obviously. iPad Pros especially, they are the thinnest models iPad ever has seen, and they did obviously fail a bit on that advertising on that event, so they had to apologize on Friday after that crash ad that they had obviously coming up there, where they crashed some toys and items there in that ad, obviously trying to showcase that quite minimalistic iPad model, but yeah, it didn't look good at all. And also in China, iPhone sales have been improving now, about 12% in March following the price cuts, so that's also a positive indication for Apple at the moment. Amazon is planning to invest now quite a bit of money again in its Singapore infrastructure for cloud services, about 9 billion in the next 5 years, and they did get quite good cloud deal as well with Germany's Telefonica, which will now obviously host their web services with Amazon, so that's good news as well. Google is having its I/O event tomorrow on Tuesday, and what else we did see, their DeepMind has launched AlphaFold 3, an advanced AI model enhancing drug discovery and predicting molecular interactions, so that's something good as well, obviously. Google is struggling a bit with internal issues there with employee morale and compensation and job security and so on, so this is obviously a bit of a struggle. That's why the price is declining a bit as well, probably. Microsoft has been a bit stronger now, so basically, and also in news, they are planning to invest about 3.3 billion in AI hub in Wisconsin, I believe, creating 2,300 construction and 2,000 permanent jobs. So that's also a good thing. If you look at NVIDIA is struggling a bit. It's all in green, but still no good price momentum at the moment. And Netflix is now back to the positive territory, so that's also a good sign. If you look at Meta, did we skip it? Okay, Meta is still in negative territory, so it's kind of playing with that 20-day moving average there, and at the moment it's looking to the downside a bit. We'll see. At the moment, yes, there are no positive signs so far. And Tesla did announce that they are planning to invest about 500 million to expand its EV charging network in 2024, even though they recently laid off much of that team. But yes, they are still planning to go ahead with that infrastructure as well. PayPal has been struggling with, as I did indicate, obviously I don't have good hope at the moment just yet until I see some more strength there, so I would like to see the price closing above this trend line here. And Lululemon is also in negative territory, just below that 20-day moving average. And as long as it keeps that way, then no good entry points just yet. Great, so let's have a look at our predictive model here as well. So last week we did put out this prediction, and as we can see, the price did move quite closely following that prediction as well. So that's a good win-win here. And so obviously, as you can imagine, it's quite hard to predict a week ahead how closely the price is going to move, but we have achieved that. So that's obviously good win for us and for our followers as well. And if you look at the new week's price action prediction here, so obviously this is for educational purposes only. So if you plan to trade S&P, then obviously do your own due diligence and your own research, but this is as a guideline for educational purposes here. Now, Anet, yes, that we have mentioned last week, and we are quite positively, obviously, following that. And after that earnings, yes, the market did raise quite a bit, almost 15% in 4 days, which is a good thing. And second one that we pointed out last week was CEG, and this has been doing very good as well. So basically what we did see was a raise in prices about 8.7% within a week. And also other one that we did point out that had a new trend forming, that's from utilities sector. It is MSEX, and it was rising about 7.5% during the week. So these were all wins again. Now for new week, we got some more candidates here. Obviously these are not again recommendations in any way at all, but just to point out that those companies are in favorable sectors at the moment, and they do show quite good trend as well. So obviously we are trying to follow the trend here, going with sectors that are doing well as well. So one of them is CLH, which is Celsius Holdings, and they are a food producer company, and basically new trend is forming here. So let's keep an eye on it, how it's gonna perform now from here on. Second one is CAG, which is also from staples sector, and this is also a food producer. It's I think it's something to do with packaged goods or food. All right, and this is a continuation trend or trade there basically that we are looking at. Then CBP, which is Campbell Soup, and also food industry. Also we are looking at possible breakout and continuation of that trend. And then we have HRL here, which is Hormel Foods Corporation. Also staples. And now they deal with meat and nuts and some other food products. And obviously there is quite a lot of resistance. So we are expecting that if this price is going to break out, then it might go even higher. So that's why we are keeping an eye on it. And then WM, which is waste management, which is providing environmental solutions for residential, commercial and industrial companies, and obviously they do operate in US and Canada. And this is also showing some strength now. So although there is again resistance ahead, but if it's going to break out, then we have quite good possibility going even higher. The momentum is what we are waiting at the moment. And then as a last thing, CMI. CMI is also looking good. It has formed now a positive signal there. Although again, it's got some resistance there, and it's from industrial sector there. So we'll see how it's going to play out. But at the moment, yes, we are expecting this to go even higher. All right, perfect. So that's about it. That was market overview for week 20, and I'll wish you obviously best of trading there, and thank you also for staying with me until the end. If you did enjoy this episode, then please click that like button as well and share this video with others, and also give me some ideas or write me some comments what you think about this content, and what else would you like to see. All right, thank you very much, and have a happy new week there as well. Yeah, all the best to you. Bye bye.